Welcome to Oh Hell No with Nicole.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Today we have Chris Stylezz. He's the host of Trappin Anonymous. Welcome, Chris. Thank you for joining me.
Is my mic working? Is my love?
Yes, it is. I'm so sorry about that. We had some technical difficulty on my part, and I apologize. Thank you for being so patient.
You good. What's up?
All right, so I want to talk about you. So the first thing I want to ask you is, when you were growing up, what did you want to be?
When I was growing up, I wanted to be a police officer. I only wanted to be a police officer because they carried guns, and it wasn't like a real reason. As I got older, I noticed like that's not why you should want to be something for the rest of your life. So, I was just into like action movies and like superheroes and shit like that. So when I realized that cops carried weapons and they could walk around with a gun, I was like, oh, I have to be a cop. Then I grew up and I realized that cops are like completely bullshit and they're fucked up individuals. So I just did not want to do that at all.
Right. All right. So what was your major in college?
Media communications, the most bullshit degree there is.
Every time you say that, I'm like, yes. I have a communications degree too.
Communications is like the degree that people get when they don't really know what they want to do. It's like the next thing up from a liberal arts degree. Like, you can't do shit with a media communications degree. Like, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I got a master's in communications because I wanted to go into public relations. And then when I got into public relations, it was not what I really thought it was going to be. So, yeah.
Absolutely not. You got a master's in PR. I'm sorry. I feel bad. Because, listen, this business right here, it's either you are going to create your own path, create your own lane, or you already know somebody, or if you're a female, you're going to sleep your way to the top. I know it's a lot of allegations that's going on right now with the sexual harassment, shit like that, but that's how a lot of women get put on in the industry. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
And I realized even after I had got out of college that nobody was going to hire me. Like, I went out for like 10, 15, 20, 30 job applications. No one gave a damn about me or my bullshit media communications degree. They just wanted 10 years of experience for an entry-level job, and I didn't obviously have that.
So that was my next question, is like, what did you learn once you hit the real world? And like you just said, is that even though you had a degree, it was very difficult to secure employment, and you realized that you got to create your own platform and do your own thing to get ahead or to get where you want to go.
That's correct.
So what advice would you give to young people who are in college right now and, doing their thing? What would you say to them to prepare themselves for when they do graduate?
One thing I would tell them right now is literally create your own lane. We have things like YouTube. We have things like Instagram. We have social media. Like, these things are groundbreaking tools that people could be using to create their own platform. We don't need someone to sign off and tell us that we are approved and we're valid anymore. You got people making thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on YouTube by just being a couple in a relationship on YouTube and getting those dollars. You got people doing podcasting and doing live shows and getting advertisements. You have people making music on their SoundClouds. It's so many ways for you to make it. You do not need to wait on somebody to hire you. Create your own jobs, your own opportunities. Become an entrepreneur. That is the only way.
Yeah. And that brings me to your podcast. Listening to your podcast, it really made me feel like you were the type of individual that was promoting thinking outside of the box, for us being your audience. And I really enjoyed that about your podcast. So why did you start your podcast, and what was the real purpose of it?
Well, Trappin Anonymous, I came up with it because I was always fascinated with the underworld. I watched shows like American Greed, Cocaine Cowboys. I was just so thoroughly intrigued with crime. I love people robbing their way to the top, stealing, and just figuring out hustles and grinding it out beyond the traditional way. Because the people that's working in these corporate offices and doing all of these other jobs, they're robbing, scamming, they're doing all the same shit, just at a different level. They call those white collar crimes. Like, this is the bottom, the low level. This is the underground, and I wanted to be a voice for that because that's where I came from. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. The average scammer was next door to you, so I knew all these people. I just wanted to find a way to document their lives because it was fascinating to us. Because, like, we go through a lot of trauma living in the hood, and we don't really understand what's really going on. But these stories, these people's lives, I mean, literally, this is millions and billions of dollars of content, because this is normal to us, but this is extraordinary to the rest of the world. They can't believe that we really living like this. They can't even believe that you could bust a check for $100,000. They can't believe you can walk into a store and swipe a Rolex for $30,000. They don't know that this stuff is really happening. So I wanted a way to document that without feeling like a snitch. So I was in Colombia, and it literally came to me like a premonition or some shit. And I said, I'm going to interview scammers. I'm going to do it anonymously. At first, I was going to call it Trapping Anonymously. Then I was like, no, that sounds terrible. Then I was like, Trapping Anonymous. And I was like, yo, that's fucking perfect. I came home. I went to Guitar Center. I bought 2 microphones, an interface, 2 mic stands. I went in my kitchen. I called some scammers over, and I did the first episode in my kitchen.
I love it. Love it. So, people, I just don't want you to think that it's just a negative. It's negative. It's not. I feel like you always put some kind of positivity to it that we can take away from it. I don't feel like it's negative. Like, even though you're saying like they're scammers or whatever, like my favorite was Hedge Fund. You know, I love that one. And I even loved plastic surgery because that is something that I've been very fascinated with. I have never had plastic surgery, but it was fascinating to listen to that story, you know, even the cocaine. Like, I mean, really good stuff. So I really think it's interesting, and you can always take something positive from it. So, who was your favorite guest so far?
Well, first, let me tell you, thank you so much for saying that, because it's not just a negative podcast. Because even if we sit there and we talk about the underworld for a couple hours and like 5 or 6 episodes is about that, what you got to understand is Trappin Anonymous was actually going to be only 4 episodes because I thought it was going to fail. So I said, after 4 episodes, I'm out the game. I'm not doing it anymore. I checked my SoundCloud, and I had 10,000 plays on the first episode. And I'm like, holy fuck, like, I got to keep doing this shit. So that's how I had to keep doing more episodes. Trappin is anything. Trappin is not just crime. Trappin can be getting up and going to work every day. Trappin could be taking care of your 3 kids, being a single parent. Trappin is whatever your hustle is, whatever your grind is, whatever you get into every day. So that's how we got to spawn off and do other things like Hedge Fund Anonymous and Black Entrepreneurship, and we got to do the Black Wall Street Anonymous, because I could reel you in with the negativity and then I could twist it and make it positive. Could you imagine if Love and Hip Hop just sat down and talked about credit for 1 episode?
Right.
Wally mixing all that ratchet shit and all this. Tell me how to get a motherfucking mortgage. You know how much people would learn and how much people would say, okay, let me rebuild my credit. Let me get acquisition. Let me get equity. Let me really put my money into things that is going to get me residual income. People don't have no kind of financial literacy, and it's probably because these things are not attractive to us. When you go to the white community, that stuff is, they getting taught that shit out the gate because they want to teach their kids about high finance. Now, you mean to tell me if I knew about high finances as I was growing up, I would be in motherfucking Wall Street too. I just didn't know about it. Nobody around me knew about it.
Yes, exactly.
The brokest person in the high finance room makes $200,000 a year. I would have never wanted to get a city job. I would have never wanted to be, a cop. I would have wanted to be a banker.
Right.
Those would have been my heroes. But instead, we get thrown hip-hop stars, we get reality stars, we get thrown all this bullshit, complete bullshit. And it's not jobs that people can really get. And it's such a long shot for you to make it into the NBA that you need to figure out a regular job.
Yeah, it's so true. It really is. Have you broken up from a recent relationship and find yourself back in the dating scene? If you have, this new book, Faking the O, is the book for you. Faking the O will help you navigate through the pitfalls of the dating scene. You'll learn how to identify the guys to drop after the first date, the ones who should have a second chance, and the ones who might just be the next serious relationship. Faking the O is now available on paperback at Amazon and Barnes & Noble, as well as ebook and Kindle, Nook, Apple iBook, and Google Play. You can also find out more information about Faking the O at www.fakingtheo.com. Check it out. It's got all the information you need. So who was your favorite guest so far that you've had on?
Honestly, off rip, I would say like my first episode, it was just straight nostalgia, like just being able to start my own thing and do it. And I thought the guy was hilarious. But then I would have to go to the hedge fund. I mean, going out to DC, staying in the 5-star suite, getting driven around in the Maybach, like that shit was so foreign to me. This guy really just wanted to be on my show, and he just happened to be worth $57 million. Damn. So
That's crazy.
He got to show me a side of life that I've never experienced.
Let me tell you, when I was listening to that podcast, I was taking notes. I was writing stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's one of those you might want to like replay it and be like, okay, I missed that, and like you want to like be on Google as you're listening. Like, okay, what is this? What is he talking about? Like, you know what I mean?
And the funny thing is, I used to be a paralegal, and that whole legal business that he was talking about, like that never crossed my mind. Like, you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Which part are you talking about?
When he was saying that, you know, he has a business, and you know, you basically get some information from the court, and then you reach out to people regarding. Yes.
People don't know. Like, people always want to get rich off of making a T-shirt or making a service-based businesses. Provide a service. Be the middleman in some shit that provides something to someone. You don't have nothing to do with that court document shit. Mm-hmm. But you're a part of it now, and people need that service. So you just provide a service. Exactly.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about. Thinking outside of the box, you know? So it's good that you have that platform and you can motivate that, and you know, it's just amazing. So
yeah, I thank God for that.
Yeah. So from the guests that you have had, what's the most shocking thing that you've learned to date?
The most shocking thing. That's tough. Oh man, I've learned so much because there's so many different topics. There's so much different things that we discuss. This most shocking thing. Oh man. I mean, well, the most shocking thing for me would probably be when I did the Backpage Anonymous, and I had the prostitute come, and I interviewed a prostitute about the things that she does, and instead of paying her to perform sexual activity, I paid her to interview her, and just that shock value to see someone like, wait, what? You're like interested in my life, and you're like. That dynamic, it was just so crazy, and that interview was just so powerful, and I got to really understand, like, some people, they ain't got no choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people, they really don't got no choice. And we always say, well, yeah, you didn't have to do that. Some people, they did. Some people, they didn't have the luxuries that was afforded to so many people. So, you know, that was like a big shock for the person, and it was a shock for me just to see that kind of reaction from someone.
Wow. What was the most interesting thing you've learned?
The Dominatrix episode. I mean, I couldn't believe the biggest clientele in the dungeons were Hasidic Jews.
Wow. See, I didn't get to that episode. I was working backwards. So I got to you know what I'm saying? So I got to put those other ones in my feeds. And now I'm thirsty. I want to go listen to the rest of them.
The Dominatrix one is going to really fuck your head up.
Oh, my gosh. I can't wait.
Really good. The Dominatrix Anonymous is going to really fuck your head up.
Wow. So when are you going to put new more material up? I mean, I'm still catching up, but when do you go to your new series?
You're still catching up, and you want to know.
I know, because listen, I'm hustling. I work a full-time job, and I podcast on the side, and I got a daughter and a husband. I'm trying to do the damn thing, and I try to listen to as many podcasts as I can.
I'm worried about when there's going to be more, and people like you kill me. You really kill me.
Why?
Okay, no, but seriously. For me, it's not about the quantity of episodes that I have. It's about the quality of episodes that I have. So I'm not going to be a slave to the consumer, and I'm not going to sit there and put out an episode every week. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to put it out every 2 weeks. I'm going to put it out whenever I have something that is worth listening to. And I know it's frustrating for the listeners, but at the end of the day, I want to put out timeless shit. I don't want to just put out something that's going to live in this space for a couple months and be hot. I want to put out something that's going to live for eternity.
Wow. Okay, I get that. I like that.
Yeah.
Quality over quantity. Yes.
With everything.
All right. So I saw that you have some events on your website. Do you promote those? Do you host? What is your job in that arena?
Well, I'm the official host of Henny Palooza. It's a open bar Hennessy party. We just came off tour, 22 cities. And I also host a lot of things within the country as well, and different colleges and different schools. Just any event that needs hosting, I'd really be on it.
So Henny Palooza is a Hennessy party, and what does it do? It travels all over the world,
Yeah, I mean, it started in my friend's basement. He started a party.
Mm-hmm.
He said it's going to be open bar Hennessy and chicken. It's either you bring a bottle of Hennessy or you bring chicken. You show up with that, and you have a great time, honestly. And it's just spawned into this big party all over the country. And we've had a lot of fun with it, and we've been a lot of places. We got to travel with it. Had a lot of celebrities there. You can check everything out. It's on hennypalooza.com. All the recap videos and everywhere we've been and things like that. So,
wow,
yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So, what do you enjoy the most about traveling the world?
Food. I love trying the different foods. It's like the best part because the culture everywhere is completely different. You don't. The people. You get to go to Chicago and eat Harold's. You get to go to Texas and have Papados, and then you get to go to LA and have I forget what the name of this place is called. It has the great soul food in there and all that shit like that. But I'm a foodie, so like wherever I go, I just like to try the different foods, and you get to really see how different people are. You know what I mean? You get to see the culture of different people, how they act, and the different markets and the different things that they're into, how they dress, how the people feel. It's just a different vibe, and you just really get to expand your mind. You know what I'm saying? And the intellectual palate just being everywhere in this country.
That's cool. What are your long-term goals for your career?
I want to be the most important person in entertainment. I don't want things to pop without my name on it. So just branding-wise, I don't know if it's in TV, radio, podcasting, social media. I'm just going to be the most important person in entertainment.
Okay. What is something that you have learned that stays with you as you navigate your way through life?
Building relationships.
That's important.
Nurturing them, checking up on the relationships, taking care of the relationships.
Okay, that's fair.
It's about who you know in this business.
Yeah, it definitely is. And that's something so true you said too. When you're looking for a job and stuff, it's who you know, not what you know. That's Bible, that's gospel.
Absolutely.
What is the biggest sacrifice you have made to date to live the life that you are currently living?
My love life.
Your love life. Yeah, it's probably hard to date or have like a steady relationship when you're constantly traveling and so busy.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I'm sure you have a lot of fun, but then, just having like
it's a lot of emptiness.
Emptiness, yes, exactly.
It's a lot of emptiness, and it's just a lot to ask of someone to really sit there and champion you through being in LA one week and ATL another week and Chicago the next week,
Yeah, absolutely. So back to advice. What advice would you give someone who was going to graduate high school and they were saying like, I don't think I'm going to go to college? What would you tell them? Would you give them would you say go to college? Would you tell them to experience that? Or would you tell them to just work on, building their own brand business? What would you say?
Well, I don't want to completely discredit college because college gave me, when you go to college, like all the dorms face each other. You're in the cafeteria, everyone eats together. You're in the classroom, everyone learns together. You're put in college to network with people. My thing is, don't go to college just to learn. Go to college to create relationships, to network. You go to college, what do people do? They build their own clubs. They build their own fraternities. They build their own social events. Like, you're in there to meet people from all over the world, from different cultures, from different backgrounds. Everyone is put in this one place, and take advantage of that. Take advantage of having a roommate, a dorm mate. Take advantage of being in a club or starting your own group. You need to take advantage of all of those things. So I'm not saying don't go to college. You may not need college for what you're doing, so I'm not going to overly encourage it. But, hey, listen, if you're going to go to college, while you're there, make sure you are networking with the people there and building relationships with those same individuals.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. So do you feel like you have figured out your passion and purpose in life?
Absolutely, but also know that passion and purpose, they change throughout life. People think that, I could only have one passion, I could only have one love in life, and this is going to be the only thing I do for the rest of my life. But as you mature, as you grow, these things change. These things don't always stay one thing. The passion that I had 5 years ago was not the passion I have today, but I was gifted enough to learn one of my passions early in life so that I can master it, that I could live my life around it. So I am blessed in that regard, but at the same time, it's like, it's going to change.
Wow. Yeah.
It's going to change.
That's true. I think that's true. And I think that even if you do have one passion, it evolves into different things, so it's still something that changes somehow, some way. So because this is the Oh Hell No podcast, you have to share an Oh Hell No moment with us from something from Henny Palooza, or maybe from taping your podcast, something that happened where you were like, oh, hell no. And it cannot be what just happened with us when I first started this podcast. Don't you play me.
Okay. Pledging Kappa Alpha Psi, pledging a fraternity. Oh, hell no. One of those things.
Oh, man. It's that bad?
One of those things.
Okay. Well, tell everybody where they can listen to your podcast and how to keep up with all things Chris Stylezz.
Okay. It's Chris Stylezz, the young king. It's the legend. TrappinAnonymous.com, HennyPalooza.com, Trappin Anonymous on SoundCloud, on iTunes. Make sure you check that out. Check out all the episodes. Check out all my content. My Instagram is Chris Stylezz, ChristyLezz on Instagram, on Twitter. That's really it. Shout out to Oh Hell No. I really do appreciate this interview, and, hit me up anytime.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing this interview, and I had such a good time learning about you. Thank you for letting us into your life just a little bit, and we will be listening and following up on you. So,
all right, shout out to y'all.